Alright, let's get back to taking my last red pill, Sandman.
And here's what he has to say. Hello, Sandman. Since the shutdown of the bars and cinemas, I needed a new form.
He probably makes more money streaming. Relatable!
Of entertainment. And donating to your videos is a great substitute.
Why we hate Greg now? He's done a decent bit of anti-SJW stuff on his channel before. I legit haven't watched Armored Skeptic in like 5 years, so I have no idea what he's up to. But I know I stopped watching him for that reason, so...
I love to read the comments on videos that you make for me, and yes, I'm a troll. But no, I never lied. Especially the comments on supernatural things, of course. I knew my video would end up like the way it did, but it's always good to get an anonymous reaction from strangers. Because in the so-called real world, many people lie, and they just don't want to hurt my feelings or similar crap. And it reminded me that there are possibly a lot of red pills out there I still have yet to discover. I took the one about girls, obviously. Was forced to swallow the one about paranormal stuff.
Wait, what? Does he think that there's like a red pill about like believing in ghosts? Does he believe in ghosts and that's a red pill? He's been a red pill about ghosts? I love it.
Tried to understand the financial slave market that the Wall Street crowd created, and took the one that slows...
I gotta see if he does a video on like being red pilled about ghosts. I just gotta look like up supernatural, I guess. Supernatural. Ghosts? Oh god, I can't find any specific things about ghosts. Well, I don't know then. I guess I can't prove he believes in ghosts, but that sounded like it had to do with... He, like, believes in ghosts and he thinks it's a red pill. It's interesting.
Was down science with bureaucracy and still digested the nihilistic reality that everything about me will be forgotten 100 years after my death, no matter what I do. And even if I've earned the title of my pseudonym, Mabus, see Nostradamus, I would still be forgotten, just a lot later. In case the stuff I mentioned won't be used, are there any red pill suggestions I still have yet to take, and how can I? Well, Mabus, the third Antichrist according to Nostradamus. You want more red pills besides the ones you just mentioned.
Wait, does he believe in Nostradamus as like a prophetic seer of the future? Because that's the stupidest thing to believe. Nostradamus wrote a lot about a lot of stuff, and people have read way too much into it.
I'll get to my recap of all the most important red pills in my life in just a moment, and then build on some more. But let me first tell everyone about today's sponsor, the MGTOW Book Collection. Tim Patton has written 5 MGTOW books. MGTOW is Forever is...
The cover of this book never fails to make me laugh. Look at this. MGTOW is Forever, and it's got this beefcake on the cover. Hey, how do we have the straightest book cover ever, brother? Put a big muscly shirtless man on there. That's what real men want to look at.
The latest, and is a great introduction to MGTOW. If you've been injured on the job and need help, disabled and unable to work is for you. MGTOW Building Wealth and Power helps you empower your finances. Masculinity is Our Future is about how the world sees masculinity as toxic.
Okay,
He read this near waist when I heard a video. So maybe it's the first red pill I took in my life was back in the year 2000, when I heard about Edward Bernays. I learned about pop culture and how corporate media and their propaganda turned me into a consumer without my consent.
So, your first red pill was how capitalism is shit. That's kind of true, though calling it a red pill is weird. It's more just a realization that we're all parts in a bigger system that influences us, yeah.
I was pissed off at first for many months and then got depressed, because I saw the life I'd actually wanted was pointless. The job, the house with the white picket fence were dreams that were manufactured and put in front of me that I didn't really want. But
well, I think a lot of people want their own space, their own home. I don't think that's something that's manufactured. If you're talking about, like, the idea of the ideal nuclear family being, you know, one man, one woman, a couple kids, a dog, yeah, but I think a lot of people do legitimately just want those things. That's not necessarily a whole thing that's trying to, like, deceive you.
But I was still told to want them. Years later, I watched a documentary series called The Century of the Self that sums up everything I learned. And that put me into a depressed red pill malaise. I put a link to the first part of that documentary series in the description. The second red pill happened during my early 20s from around the age of 22 to 26. I started having weird paranormal experiences you would typically see on X-Files. Precognition, astral travel, and I saw a UFO and experienced many synchronicities.
Oh no! He's crazy! Oh no!
That showed me that reality isn't exactly what it seems. Then from the age of, let's say, 27 to 32 in 2005, I watched the film End of Suburbia. It scared me because it was pretty accurate at the time based on fossil fuel extraction, depletion, and the technology we were using at the time. I put a link to the End of Suburbia in the description so you guys can check that out too. I also wrote a book back then about what I learned about peak oil. But we quickly saw fracking come up just in time to replace the sharp declines in natural gas production in North America. I guess I learned don't discount human ingenuity when it comes to extracting that creamy nougat goodness of fossil fuel energy found deep inside the earth.
Okay, but like fracking is bad, okay? Fracking is real bad for the environment.
2009, I took another red pill with regards to finance and economics. I'd say it's a recent thing from the age of 29 until I just found cryptocurrencies. During a potential peak oil crisis, I thought that creating a local currency that would keep people working and the economy running during such a time would be a great idea. And now
cryptocurrencies are awful. Do not get involved in them, and I say that as someone who's made money on Bitcoin. But the thing about Bitcoin is, it's a bubble. All cryptocurrency is basically a bubble waiting to burst all the time, and if you get into it, operate on the greater fool model. Basically, buy it assuming that the value might go up a little bit, and then you can sell it to some other idiot and hope that you aren't the one holding the bag when the bubble pops. That's speculation in a nutshell.
Bitcoin has become a local global currency. It's better than any local currency because it can't be shut down and controlled in traditional ways.
Except you can't buy stuff with it almost anywhere. Some places you can, not most places.
Although the Canadian government just began forcing crypto companies and exchanges in this country to start keeping detailed information about their clients. But even still, the red pill here is that central bankers can potentially lose control if they aren't careful and don't regulate crypto.
With a bigger and hotter
it has the power to displace many of the functions that traditional forms of currency do. Seeing what the Brave browser is doing, creating what amounts to a public coin offering that replaces initial public stock offerings, shows me how big of a game changer this is. The final red pill I took was obviously MGTOW, from the age of 34 until recently. Of all the red pills I just mentioned, the first one was the toughest because I was depressed.
Kathy7407, hey Hannah, I was called Eula May in the course of my phone job this week by a Karen who got angry for God knows what reason. Then someone I told tried to convince me it was a racial slur against white people. I doubt it, but what do you think? I doubt it. I don't know what the heck that means, but it certainly doesn't sound like a racial slur. It just sounds like a weird Karen thing.
And felt like my life had no purpose and meaning after that. A red pill moment is supposed to shatter your perception of reality and shatter you to pieces. Maybe I know what you want from me. You want me to teach you about something I don't even know about yet. You want me to blow your mind with something you've never heard before. Peak experiences and aha moments are addicting because they literally rewire your brain and you become a different person with a new perception of reality when that happens. After you go through the first few of them traumatically and possibly face depression, the next ones after that actually make you feel better in a bittersweet kind of way. Recently I realized that you can hold two opposing value systems in your mind and accept both of them. And no, I'm not talking about women and their contradictory ideas that they keep in their head. This is a difficult thing for most people to do. For example, if you're a die-hard gold bug, can you actually also be a die-hard crypto fan? Most people can't. They either pick one or the other. But you can invest in both of them, hedge your bets, and don't fall into the cult of worship over any one investment thesis idea. You can believe two diametrically opposed things at the same time. You don't have to choose one direction or another.
That's called cognitive dissonance. It's generally not a good thing. It's not cognitively dissonant to understand the concept that you should diversify your portfolio. That's not cognitive dissonance. It's a sound strategy to hedge your bets against ruining yourself by putting all your money in one thing. That's not holding two opposing viewpoints. It's seeing value in two things. They don't have to be diametrically opposed.
If the stock market is still rising by the time I release this video, I had another red pill moment about it, realizing that it's most likely because of the bond market yields being so low. People are getting just over 0.5% per year for their 10-year bonds in the United States. Dividend stocks pay what? 2, 3, 4% on average, and people are looking for yield, because many people live off their investments. Recently, I opened a double short position on one side, and I went long airlines and cruise ship companies on the other. How could I believe—
Oof, when was this? July 19th? Long on airlines and cruise ships is a bold thing to do right now. Like, just in terms of investment strategy. I mean, I'd imagine their stocks are pretty low right now because of COVID, but assuming that humanity doesn't die out, it would kind of make sense to do a long-term investment on them. So that could theoretically be sound, but I'm not here to, like, critique this person's stock buys.
Two diametrically opposed things, that the market was going to go up and down at the same time. Actually, I didn't care. I knew if the market moved 10 or 20% up, I would lose money on my short positions, but could cash out on my stocks, and then the short positions would still remain, and I would have a much better entry point. The stocks are a sort of hedge. The same thing would happen if things went in the opposite direction. As for having another epiphany moment, learning about some new idea or thing that's actually out there, that might mean doing some work for yourself, maybe. For example, I needed a way to describe the anger I felt after learning about female nature, so I called it the red pill rage. With precognitive dream experiences, I learned what caused them myself.
I like that he's just admitting that his entire worldview is partially put into place by dreams that he had that he feels are prophetic. That's quite the assertion.
I couldn't find anyone else discussing similar situations with regards to 3200 degrees Kelvin light bulb color temperature setting them off. I guess what I'm trying to say is once you've experienced red pills that others have had to offer, maybe it's a good thing to go out and discover new things and then share your red pills with others. Think for yourself instead of expecting others to force-feed you ideas that shatter your perception of reality. Also be careful for what you wish for, because according to T.S. Eliot, humanity cannot—
Do you have a link to that video about someone defending lollies? That might be funny. Although, if there are pictures in it, I will have to take the video off this, because obviously gross lolly hentai is not TOS.
bear too much reality. We're seeing now with the virus and people going nuts, rioting in the streets. What if you learned that this reality is a computer simulation? I feel like there's a lot of evidence for that being a possibility.
It wouldn't matter. If reality was a computer simulation, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter at all. You still exist as a human being. You still have thoughts and feelings, whatever that happens to mean. It wouldn't matter. It would not matter in the least. Your life would not be diminished for knowing that.
But what if I could conclusively prove that this were a computer simulation? Wouldn't that just make everything I did in this reality completely meaningless?
No. Not any more or less than it already is.
Because it's just pixels projected on a holodeck, and when life ends it means absolutely nothing. That everything I fought for and learned is an illusion.
Okay, but like, when you die, people will forget about you anyway, whether you're made of flesh and blood or pixels, it doesn't matter. Do what you do because it makes you happy and to help other people around you. Like, none of what we do in the real world, whatever it might be made of, matters objectively to the universe. The universe doesn't care. What matters is our relationships to each other and how much we can make the world a better place for those that we share the planet with. Like, that's what matters. Stop trying to measure your life against a ruler or yardstick that is, like, the eternity of time, because, of course, the universe doesn't care about you. It's not sentient. It's not sapient. We are who matters.
And anything I do here on YouTube might not matter because I'm teaching my wisdom out to NPCs that are programmed to react like real people. For many people, that would be taking their last red pill because they would probably get suicidal thoughts, losing all hope, because they would know their children and their parents and nothing around them was real. So be careful what you wish for and believe in, and how deep you go down the rabbit hole. I sometimes get the feeling that there are certain restrictions being placed on my life from the outside, so that I don't figure out how the simulation works, and then go out showing others what I've learned too, shattering their perception of reality as well.
I like that he's just talking about this idea of reality as a simulation with absolutely no evidence to that effect. But he's like, oh yeah, this is my last red pill. This is for sure true. Like what? Based on what? Why do you think that you're living in a simulation?
Well, what I do know is that if we were immortal beings, then we would have gone insane after a few thousand years.
What?
And then the only solution would be to scrub our minds clean and live new lives for distraction and entertainment purposes, instead of going mad.
Wait, does he think he's in, like, a holodeck, and he lives in, like, the future, and this is all fake? What? That's wild. He needs to lay off the drugs, holy crap.
If I ever figure out what's going on, I'll definitely share with everyone. But if I do, I'll give you guys a fair warning. The biggest red pill I ever learned after MGTOW is that I realized that loverbots and artificial wombs can solve resource scarcity issues, over or under population, free men to enter a second renaissance and turn the world into something truly amazing for hard-working men. But for the lazy sociopathic men, banksters, and women, it would become a dystopian nightmare world, because they wouldn't be able to profit from usury and pussy juice. But if you're anything...
This one isn't even making me mad. This guy's just cuckoo bananas. This guy has straight up gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Be careful, kids. Sometimes when you take the red pill, it apparently just drives you fucking nuts.
like me, then you don't care what happens to the users of men, because they aren't entitled to our labor and our souls anymore. If male liberation means females' pain and suffering, then so be it. As well as those bean-counting bankers that create money.
Why do you think that it's some sort of zero-sum game? Why do you think that in order for women to be happy, men have to be miserable or vice versa? Why can't we all just live in a society where everyone's considered a human being and offered the same rights? Like, come on, dude. You believe in aliens, but you don't think that equality is achievable?
Out of thin air with zero value and enslave you with it. I think that taking my very last red pill would happen in my old age when I've done what I can in my life and accomplished what I want to. Then I'd go off UFO hunting, interviewing people that have had paranormal experiences, and learn as much about the true nature of reality. I've already got a big glimpse of that, but immersing myself in that full time would yield some incredible discoveries. And I would share them with everyone online, of course.
I'm sure random MGTOW guy, once you go out and start investigating UFOs, you'll crack the case. People have been trying to investigate UFOs for decades, but I'm sure random MGTOW guy who believes he has prophetic dreams and that he lives in a simulation, I'm sure you'll figure it out. Why would it even matter? If you think we live in a simulation, why would you care what a UFO is? Like, you're in a simulation. Why would it matter?
Of course. I like to put my analytical mind to that problem because, from my experience, there are a lot of shysters and charlatans in such areas because it's easy to make stuff up and have people believe in you. There's that
pot, meat, kettle.
That old line from Mark Twain when he says that it's easier to lie to people than it is to convince them that they've been lied to. But again, maybe that's me figuring out reality on my own and not waiting for a prepackaged set of easy ideas to be force-fed down my gullet like faux gras. Besides, when you don't discover something yourself, it doesn't have the same meaning or value to you. Stop waiting for the next red pill to show up on your doorstep. Go out there and manufacture your own ones and share them with everyone else. That's also why I wrote a book about peak oil and had a YouTube channel about 10 or 11 years ago. Because I wanted to explore parts of it that others hadn't, and if there ever was a situation where oil becomes scarce, we're going to see a rise of what I'd like to call gasoline gangsters. Think of guys in the Mad Max films, just as the collapse is happening, stealing oil and gas and reselling it in inflated prices to ordinary consumers. I saw what happened when there was artificial scarcity in places like Cuba and former Yugoslavia, after the fall of communism, and that was a pretty massive red pill. But again, those are experiences that I've had. And I've learned that the more personal experiences you have, the more red pills you'll eventually take, because you'll be able to make connections between the various experiences you've had in your life. I'd say that the most recent red pill I took was also health-wise. I learned about vitamin K2 combined with vitamin D3, and how that's the vitamin that helps prevent heart attacks, and it was taken out of our diet for the most part with industrial agriculture. I no longer get pain in my hands from calcification because of it, yet the medical establishment can't confirm or deny that it works. The red pill before that one was my own personal dream experience learning that the human spirit is eternal.
Hello, cuddly flower.
And that you can actually communicate with dead spirits of people that are still alive today. That
What?
blew my mind away because I'd never heard about that sort of experience from anyone before. But it was an experience that I had. The tragedy about swallowing red pills...
He thinks he talked to the dead? No. This guy legit... He needs to maybe put down the red pill and get a prescription for some antipsychotics. That might help.
That you can't share with others because you can't prove it to them is that they'll think you're crazy. But I talk about these sort of things regardless, and there's always someone in the comments section that helps me understand what's actually happening to me, and had similar experiences, and we can enlighten each other further. But enough of my rantings. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks again to Mavis the Antichrist for the donation and topic. Don't forget to smash the like button the way you want to smash those red pills from the safety of home, because maybe you don't want to go out there and make your own and share them with others. Bang the bell and check out the MGTOW Mystery link. Follow me on BitChute, Twitter, and Facebook to get tomorrow's video today. Subscribe to me on Minds, Gab, and MGTOW.tv to get the video for the day after tomorrow. This channel's been demonetized, so if you want to get back at corporate...
That's wild. This guy's legit nuts. It's a shame. God. Someone during the PO unboxing sent a box of, like, German candy and snacks and stuff. And boy, do the Germans love wafers and hazelnut spread. But dang, is it good. Anyway.